Good morning and welcome to this press conference for the Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. Give greetings to our Councilman Nowakowski and Councilwoman Gallego. It gives me great pleasure to support the honoring of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. through the ceremonial naming of Broadway Road to Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. I'm in support of it primarily because Broadway, I believe, is an opportunity not just for Phoenix, but also for Tempe and also for Mesa to participate, and I believe that's honoring to him. Over 2 decades ago, Opal Ellis and Judge Gene Williams, Bishop Henry Barnwell, and Reverend Dr. Warren Stewart embarked upon a quest to establish a Martin Luther King Day holiday. They met with great resistance, but also great support from the community. They campaigned, they marched, they protested, and even received death threats against their families and themselves. For some today, it's hard to believe that fellow citizens would have enough anger and hate to actually threaten someone's bodily life over the naming of, or over a holiday for a man who was a civil rights leader, who was arguably the most profound catalyst for transformation for civil rights in the United States. I'm in support of the ceremonial naming because I believe it's another way to remember the dream that Dr. Martin Luther King spoke of. As we are all very much aware of with the recent events that have occurred in Ferguson, New York, and even in our own city, that the dream has not been fully realized. There are some people on the planet, there are many people on the planet more than ever before in the United States, in Arizona, and even in Phoenix. Yes, but we are still a minority that is underrepresented. I believe that Martin Luther King's efforts resulted not only in the progressive justices for black people, but for all people. And today we have a president who is as much black as he is white. We have men and women of Latin descent who are in leadership positions, and there are some who fear that our next president could be a woman. Even with these strides, there are those of us who still recognize that socially and economically there is work to be done. People of color are challenged with receiving equitable education. People of color have shorter life expectancy than your American brothers and sisters. People of color are average, earn less than non-minorities, and people of color are underrepresented at the table of commerce and government. It is my hope that this observance will not simply be a ceremony, but it will also serve as a catalyst to remind the city of Phoenix and the state of Arizona of the vigilant pursuit we must take up in order to see that live out the dream and full meaning of this creed. We hold these truths evident: that all men are created equal. We will allow Dr. King's name to be posted over a street where social injustice and civil inequities take place every day, languishing in the same issues that Dr. King spoke of changing? Or will we take up Dr. King's mantle today and pledge to work so that this observance will spark a passion to fight against social inequities, political injustices? Let us not be weary in well-doing, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not. So yes, please ceremonially acknowledge and celebrate the naming of Broadway Road to the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. Please don't stop there. Let us take a clear stance that it's only the beginning. It's only the beginning. Coming now is Daniel Ortega, attorney at law.
Thank you, Pastor. First of all, let me start by saying that this is truly an occasion for celebration. This is truly an opportunity to promote the fight for justice, but more importantly, to honor the legacy of a true American hero. Councilman Nowakowski, Councilman Gallego, I want to congratulate both of you for having not only the courage, but the wisdom to see a project like this through. And I thank you for making me a part of this honor. But more importantly, this ceremonial naming will inspire others to remember a man whose fight for social justice was like none other. For a man who showed that sacrifice, tenacity, and the quest for justice was what we all should be a part of. And hopefully the naming of this street, though in a ceremonial manner and a very good first step, will remind us about who he was and what he did for this country. It will also, I hope, inspire another generation of young leaders who want to bring equality to all communities in this country. It is also very timely to have done in the year 2015 the 50th anniversary of the Civil Rights Act will be this in 2015. And it's timely that we ceremonially name Broadway in Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s honor because of his struggle and his fight for the passage of the Civil Rights Act. And finally, driving down Broadway, as I've done for the last 60 years, will never be the same. And I thank God that I lived long enough to see this. Thank you very much.
I'd like to introduce Michael Kelly at this time.
Thank you, Councilman. Now, what does this ceremonial naming mean to the community, especially the community that lives there? As a 30-year resident of District 8 and also the South Phoenix community, I've gotten some input and a historical perspective about what this means to the community. Now, for those people who don't know, Broadway was not named after Broadway in New York. It was named after one of the first sheriffs in Maricopa County, and that sheriff's name was Noah Broadway. So this ceremonial naming is significant because of that factor, that it is named after someone who was local, and we moved this to be named after a dynamic national figure. As mentioned, it's a two-step process. I'm encouraged by the efforts of Councilwoman Gallego and Councilman Nowakowski, who you'll hear from soon. What brought African Americans to Arizona and that particular location historically? It was cotton, one of the C's in Arizona. So the first African Americans came to this area working beside Yaqui Indians from Guadalupe and local immigrant Hispanics. Broadway produced the first African American home builders, business leaders, politicians in the city of Phoenix and the state of Arizona. When the area was annexed to the city of Phoenix in the 1960s, it was an arts, business, cultural mecca. And from those cultural dynamics, some of you who are old enough to know, might remember the song Funky Broadway. Now, Wilson Pickett made that a #1 hit in 1967, but there was a local group called Dyke and the Blazers that wrote that song and made that song famous. Additionally, 18 streets, east to west streets, were named after former US presidents. North and south streets proudly carry the name of Native American tribes and communities. So some time ago, the question was, in a major city like Phoenix, Arizona, why not name a street after the great and dynamic Martin Luther King Jr.? So it means a lot to the community, historically, business-wise, and otherwise, and we are proud to be associated with the ceremonial naming of Broadway to become Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. Thank you.
Well, first of all, I'd like to welcome you all. I'm Councilman Michael Nowakowski from District 7. I want to take you back into how this all started. It was about 11 months ago. Kate Gallego and myself were walking in the Martin Luther King March in downtown Phoenix. And we were hearing all the young people and all the pastors and all the community come together, and they were praising and they were giving testimonies about the changes that were happening here in this great city of Phoenix. And then Kate and I were walking, and we were holding that freedom torch. And we said to each other, we said, there has to be something more than just this march. There needs to be something more than just a holiday. That we, as a city of Phoenix, being the 6th largest city in the country, we need to have something that every single day that you can remember this great man that fought for human justice, human rights, a spiritual leader, a nonviolent leader. So Kate and I, as we continued to walk, we started thinking of different things. Should we build, maybe name a park, a memorial? And all of a sudden it came to us, said, you know, we're walking down in the middle of downtown Phoenix. We should name a street where people pass every single day, where people could say Martin Luther King Boulevard, and they can remember this man's legacy forever. I said, Kate, that's a great idea. Let's announce it. Well, we can't announce it to the public now. I go, yeah, we can. We're going to form a committee. We're going to make it happen. Let's just announce it. Are you sure? I go, Kate, don't worry. You're a council member. We just need to get 3 other votes. We can make it all happen. Let's just do it. So sure enough, both of us during that Martin Luther King, standing in Margaret Hans Park in front of thousands of people, we announced it. We said, we are going to form a committee as diverse as all the people in this park, to honor this man, Martin Luther King, and we're going to name a street in the city of Phoenix named after him. After that, Kate got on the phone and started calling different leaders, from spiritual leaders to community leaders, from the African American community, from the Hispanic community. We got the sons involved. We got people from all different walks of life. And then we started to ask, what street should we name Martin Luther King? People were throwing out all kinds of different streets. Buckeye, Broadway, Baseline, Southern. And then Broadway was the street that we chose. Why? One of the things that people talked about is if the city of Phoenix names Broadway Road, then we reach out to our neighbors to the east, from Tempe to Mesa. Then we reach out to our neighbors to the west, from Tolleson, Avondale, Goodyear, Buckeye, and we ask them to join in the effort of naming this great street, Broadway Road, from Buckeye all the way to Mesa after Martin Luther King. So not only the residents of Phoenix, but the residents throughout Maricopa County can enjoy and hear and preserve that legacy of Martin Luther King. And I want to thank the committee members for that wisdom and that vision that they have to educate not only the residents of the city of Phoenix, but all residents, and reaching out to the whole region in sharing this vision. I also want to thank Councilwoman Gallego. She was just basically, it was her inauguration, and probably 2 weeks later, she's already making major decisions, stepping out of the box, doing things that weren't norm. And that's the type of representation that District 8 has. And I am proud to say she's one of my colleagues. And I'm proud of our mayor and all of my colleagues last night for voting yes and making this happen. Look at this. Amazing. Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard in Phoenix, Arizona. God bless you all. Thank you. And I'd like to present my colleague, Kate Gallego.
Thank you to Councilman Nowakowski for that wonderful introduction. It's so great to have a partner like the councilman on the City Council who believes, yes, we can. And because of his belief, I'm proud to say that 2014 will be the last year that Phoenix will be the largest city without a boulevard recognizing Dr. King. We're looking forward to putting up signs like this throughout Broadway so that we can recognize and remember Dr. King's legacy every single day. We'd like to thank all of the people who made this possible, including our steering committee members. The committee was chaired by Danny Ortega and Bishop Barnwell, and we thank them for their leadership. We also had many members from across the city. Sadly, we do have to remember one of our committee members, Mayor Driggs, who was not able to join us. It was a great loss for the city, but we appreciate his commitment to remember Dr. King and to fight for civil rights, and we will miss him as the city of Phoenix. But we do have many happy stories today, and I'm very happy to recognize on my left Faye Gray, a major community leader who's done so much to help neighborhoods, including Hermosa Park along Broadway. Michael Kelly, who chairs the District 8 African American Advisory Council and has done many things in his decades of service to the city and to all of my predecessors. Muriel Smith, a major champion for Lindo Park and other neighborhoods in South Phoenix, who's recognized as one of our civil rights champions recently by Arizona State University. Again, co-chairman Danny Ortega. We have Pastor Barnwell, thank you. Bishop Barnwell was unable to join us. He is at his 60th anniversary of a school graduation. May we all have a 60th anniversary to attend. What exciting news. Pastor Titus Lee, another major community organizer doing so much for safety and helping District 8 neighborhoods. We have many others who were part of the committee. We were very glad to have help from the Phoenix Suns and great leadership from our sports teams and philanthropic community. People have really come together and said, this is exciting. We are ready to recognize Dr. King and no longer be the largest city without a street recognizing Dr. King. So I want to express my thanks to the City Council for this unanimous vote, for our City Streets Department for working with us and really taking on something that's a larger challenge than we've taken on in the past with streets. One of the most important city streets in Phoenix, one where we're spending $1 million to invest it and make Broadway an even greater street. So we are excited. This is the first step in a process, but we're so looking forward to this January when you'll be able to see a street named for Dr. King in the city of Phoenix. Well, thank you for joining us. Thank you to everyone who made this day possible, and we'll look forward to continuing to find new ways to celebrate Dr. King's legacy.